welcome everyone to the Women Living Well After 50 live Facebook event, the 5 essential steps to getting started living an active and healthy life. I'm Sue Long-Carrick, and this will be the first episode in a 5-part series with my guest, Peta Gillian, CEO of Strong Healthy Women. Now, Peta will be guiding us through the 5 essential steps which are to get started, stay motivated and be successful in our health and wellness journey. So welcome, Peta, and it's lovely to have you join us today.
Yeah, thanks, Sue. Lovely to be here with everybody. Hey, ladies, how you all doing?
Now, we all want to make healthy changes to our lifestyle and become fitter and more active as we age. And we all know that if we want to age well and live well, we need to keep our bodies healthy and active. But sometimes getting started can be the biggest hurdle. And I'm sure that sounds familiar to many women, especially over 50. We can all find excuses not to start. And, we procrastinate and then we just become overwhelmed by it all. So in your business, Peta, in your day-to-day life, you actually work with women over 50. So when they're in that situation, what do you do to help them get started?
Getting started really starts with the change process. So I always say that there's 3 stages to change. The first part of it is that what you're sitting in at that point is what I call the unaware stage, so you're not really in any type of mindset to make any type of changes in your life, whether that be health and fitness or anything else. Others around you might be aware of it, but you're not. So then what happens is there's this moment where you move into the aware stage. And so with awareness, what happens is there's probably a moment in your life where you could be standing in front of the mirror, or, a grandchild says to you, "Oh, Nan, get down on the floor with me," and you can't do it. Or, there's countless amounts of stories I could tell you. But that moment you go, okay, it's now in the forefront of my mind that something's happened. I'm not as strong as I used to be, or I'm not as flexible as I used to be. So I need to make a change. So I'm now aware of it. But what actually happens then is you can still sit on the fence with it. So you can go, okay, it's easier just to stay as I am rather than make a change. And so, but then you can move out of that change, that stage of change, which is the awareness stage, and go, okay, I'm ready to take action. And so it's when you're in that stage of change, that action stage, that's when you're ready to get started. So you really need to have had that moment in your life where you've gone, okay, this is what I need. I've got to make a change. And then it all starts again. So it's like, where do I start? And what worked for you maybe in the past may not actually work for you these days as well. So it really is a matter of sitting down and thinking about, well, whereabouts am I going to start? And that's what the 5 steps are all about.
Yeah.
And so I thought today, Sue, what we might do is delve into step number 1. How's that? Get my finger in the right spot. 1.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's perfect.
Step number 1. So step number 1 is understanding why this is important to you. And that can vary from person to person. And so what I always have my ladies do is to sit down with a pen and a paper. So if you're listening right now, ladies, get your pen and paper out, because let's get it started. So what we're going to do is we're going to write down 10 reasons why your health and fitness is important to you. So the obvious things will start to come out. I want to be stronger. I want to be more flexible. I want to improve my balance. I want to lose a bit of weight. I want to tone my body. So all of those obvious things will come out in the first instance. So on that first day when you're sitting down writing 10, you're going to find that that's quite easy to do. But then what I want for you to do is to do this over the next 5 days. So it's a 5-day process. So each day you add to that list another 10 reasons why this is important to you. So by the time you get to the end of these 5 days, you've got 50 reasons, and you really have pushed the boundaries of your inner self, identifying why that is important. And when you do that, you can actually look at this list and you can start to see those real reasons coming out, those really connecting and motivating factors that will have you staying on track. So once you've made that decision, once you have that why, and you've really delved into it a lot, you can then stay on track, because that's the important thing. Is once you take that step, it's very easy to get distracted as well too.
Well, I think, we've heard about knowing your why before, but not to that depth. And I think we gloss over a little bit. But I know that myself, if I'm doing something, and that can, the exercise you've given us can really transfer over into general life, not just with health and getting fit.
Absolutely.
But that taking it to that next level, because you'll be doing something, you think, oh, why am I doing this? Why am I bothering? And then if you've got that document there where you've written down not just one reason, but with your process, 50 reasons, that helps to reinforce the fact, well, yeah, I know why I'm doing it, and that will help you to keep going. So I think that it is a bit of a challenging exercise to try and think up 50 reasons why over that process of 5 days. But I think if you give it a go, it's going to really be beneficial, especially in just getting you going, because there's so many reasons why you should be doing it then.
Yeah, totally. And I love coming back to Anne's reasons. So she sat down and she actually sent me her 50 reasons. So not often do I get the reasons sent to me, but in Anne's case, she did. She said, I've done it. My homework is done. You could tell she was an ex-school teacher. And so what happened was, when I started, there were all of those reasons in the first instance, the fitness and the strength and the balance and flexibility and all of that. But when I started to look through those reasons, right down at the end, like when she got to the hard stuff, you could see, I want to be able to show my granddaughter who does gymnastics that I can actually do those tumbles and all of those things. Now, here's a woman who now is in her late 70s, and she can throw her legs over the top of her body in a yoga pose, and she can do all of those things. Not that she could do them when she first started, but she can do them now. And then there were other reasons, like, I want to be able to, get outside and play with those grandkids. And I love this one. I want to dance at my grandchildren's weddings.
Yeah, that's lovely.
She said, not just dance, I really want to dance, just like if the nut bush comes on or something like that. I want to be able to do that. I want to have the breath to be able to do it, because everybody knows the nut bush is like a 6-minute song. So it's a very, very long song when you're doing some type of cardio activity like that.
Yeah.
And so you could see that her real reason was, spending time with her grandkids. That was what was lighting up her world. But it was right down there at the bottom of these 50 reasons why.
But, as I said before, to go into that detail, you will surprise yourself once you really give that time to thinking about it. You'll surprise yourself with what you come up with. So I think it's a great exercise. And it brings me to the point of how important do you think mind and body connection is when we get started?
Oh, totally important, Sue. Really, really important. And in fact, we do a series 3 days a week, which is called Talking Wellbeing TV over at Strong Healthy Women. And this week we are talking about listening to your body.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, so it is all about mind and body connection. So when you are getting started, firstly, you've got to engage that brain. So you really do have to have the mind prepared to do it. The next thing is that you do need to listen to your body. As I said earlier, you may not be able to do the things that you did in the past, or the things that you did in the past may not work for you. But just simply listening to your body. Go in slow. Don't go in at a bull at a gate, because quite seriously, that's when we get injured. So within a week, we're injured and we're out, and it's like, no, this exercise stuff doesn't work for me. And that's because you've got injured.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take it slow and steady and listen to what your body is telling you, then you will be successful. You will keep at it because you want those little wins. So will your body tell you that it's sore? Yes, for sure, it will. But there's a difference between having muscle soreness and having an injury. So when it's muscle soreness, that's when you go out for the walk in the great outdoors and you really just connect the mind to the body, and that muscle soreness, although it's still there, it starts to feel a little bit better because you are moving through it. So absolutely, totally important to listen to your body and what it is actually telling you as you're exercising and after you're exercised as well too. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's important we just don't do something without understanding what it does, about the exercise for a start. But also, as you say, excuse me, listening to your body. I mean, I know last week in a session I did with you, my shoulder just didn't feel right when I was doing something, and it was quite painful, and you picked it up and you said, what's happening there? And I could tell that, in the past, perhaps I might have tried to push through it, but my body was saying, no, this is not, you're not copping out. This is something that you really need to take notice of. It's painful, stop. So I think that, for me, that mind-body connection too is important to just understand what your body's saying to you, and knowing the difference between just, as I said, trying to cop out and not do it, but then conversely, the other side is actually there is something wrong, so I need to look after that. Yeah.
And I always think that with connection, it's not just about, your mind and your body. I always say that there's 3 levels of connecting. That's connecting with yourself. So that's about your mind and body. That's about you. But connecting with others is just as important.
Yeah.
And connecting with nature, because I don't think there is anything better than to calm your stress, your mind, or anything than getting outdoors, because you can't help yourself but to be in awe of the beauty of nature, whether it's a rainy day, a windy day, a sunshiny day. It doesn't matter. Nature just warms our heart and our soul and makes us feel a lot better. And I think that's why a lot of women do tend to, walk, run, jog, do all those things, because they are out in nature. So they feel that connection as they're doing it. But connecting with others is a really interesting thing as well too, because we all got forced into, when we went into isolation, we all got forced into finding other ways to connect. And that was like what we're doing here, where we're sitting on technology and we're still feeling that connection. We're still, seeing one another. We're seeing our faces. We can, read what's going on. And I think that's really important to embrace that level of connection that we can have. We don't necessarily have to be in the same place as somebody else.
No, that's right. And I think we've all learnt to to appreciate the Zoom calls and understand different ways of connecting. And it's still like we're having a conversation like now with you. I'm having it with you, and I feel like I'm in the same room, but we're not. So, yeah, I think that you're right about that. That connection doesn't mean that you have to be in, with each other physically to be connected.
No. No, and I know that with the virtual studio starting at Strong Healthy Women, because we've always had the online component and you were part of our online world, and then when we moved to that virtual studio, that was a whole other, ramp it up, take it up to that next level. And I mean, the amazing thing for us as trainers is that we have seen everybody just going up a level and up a level and up a level. And that's because they're still working out, but there is nothing else that they can do but connect with their mind and body because they're in their own space. So in between a set, they can't be talking to the somebody else next to them and getting distracted because they are in that one environment. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And you sort of you can't really, well, you can see what other people are doing on the screen, but you're so focused on what you're doing in the session that if someone stops, you don't notice. Whereas if you're in the physical environment, if someone stops, it doesn't take long for someone else to say, oh, they've stopped, I think I'll stop and take a breather. So, yeah, I think that we've all sort of our fitness levels really risen, that's for sure.
I think that what actually happens is that you are physically connected to yourself a lot more when you're working out in that type of environment because you are wholly and solely focused on yourself. Yeah.
No, we were just going to talk about perhaps a challenge or something that you've got coming up.
Yeah, okay. Yep. So I'm not sure whether you can see this or not. We've got the Getting Started guide. Yep.
Yep.
So Sue's going to put a link for that so that you can download that. They are the 5 steps that we're going to be talking through when we do this 5-part series. So I'm going to give you some hints and tips. The other thing you can do is come over and join my free group, which is Women Over 50, Get Active and Healthy. And we've got a really interesting challenge that will help you get started coming up very soon. And if you're over there, you'll get to find out about it first and go from there. So, and that would be awesome.
Yeah. No, well, I'll put all the links in the comments section here so they've got them. And, they can have a look at that download and see just the different steps that you're going to be talking about in detail over the next 5 weeks. But I think it's the one you've given us today is the most important, the why, and with
Absolutely.
And with the exercise of writing down 10 things each day for 5 days. So let's all try and do that. And I'd be interested to hear from our listeners or the Facebook group who's actually done it and what it's sort of what it's brought up for them. So I'll be following that on in the group and on the page. So any other thoughts before we leave today, Peter?
I think really when it comes to getting started, it is about listening to your inner voices and not letting the inner voice that'll talk you out of things, getting the better of the voice that will allow you to take those steps forward. So, and we all have those voices. I always say we've got the angel and devil sitting on our shoulders. And so listen to the angel who's telling you to take that step forward because you will only reap the rewards from actually being more active. Your body will feel a lot better. You'll feel a lot more able to do all the things that you love and enjoy. And that's what's important. We want to be able to do the vacuuming and the washing and all of those types of things. But what's really important is the things that bring us joy. We want to keep doing those.
Yeah, so important. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. That's been a great start to the series, and I'm looking forward. I've had a quick peek through the document, so I sort of know what's coming. But it's
Okay.
going to give us a nice, it's quite. By the end of it, I think it will be really helpful for everyone when we've reached the 5 steps. So if you've got any questions and that you might have thought of during the conversation today, just pop it in the comments and I can follow it up with Peter, and she can either answer before or during the next session. And I'll be putting up a post as to when our next session will be, hopefully sometime next week, and we can look at step 2. So thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you, Peter, for your time and your always informative chats. Always learn something when I talk to you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me on board, Sue.
Okay. All right. I'll see you for our next, for step 2. Okay. Bye.
Yep. Okay.
Bye,
See you then. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.